Chapter 34 is really short, so I'm actually going to read chapter 34 and 35. And chapter 34 is Valencia. So it doesn't say anything other than that. It has a picture of a bird by a nest. So I don't know how we can make a question, but we could say, like, is something going to happen to Valencia? Is Valencia going to give Kaori and Jen like the truth about her and why she referred to herself as Renee? Which you should think about that. Like, why did she call herself Renee when she made the appointment over the phone with Kaori? And there's text evidence to back that up, because I remember earlier back why she used the name Renee. So 2 chapters, yay! Chapter 34, Valencia. I must admit, it was a little disappointing to find out that the snake wasn't poisonous. Not that I'd want Chet's throat to swell up or anything. I would never wish something like that on anyone. But an arm infected with poison and a scary trip to the emergency room would have been nice. But then Chet would have had a big, dramatic story to tell, so maybe it was for the best. I can picture it now. I went to the emergency room and almost died, man. It was a close call for a while there. The doctor said that I was lucky that I killed that cobra when I did. Good thing I had enough strength to demolish it and throw it down that well. Then again, he'll probably tell that story anyway. After Chet walks off, I pick up the pillowcase like it's a dirty sock. I wasn't crazy about the idea of holding something that had touched Chet's sweat, but I'd already littered the woods with my mother's old bowls. The least I could do was throw this atrocious object away. I didn't want some squirrel family to find it. Or Sacred. Don't forget who Sacred is. Remember, that's the dog she's feeding. The thought of Sacred cuddling up with something like Chet's pillowcase didn't sit well with me. When I glanced back at Jen and Kaori, they seem confused, like they don't know who I am all of a sudden. We should go into business together, Kaori says. What? I ask. I couldn't have heard that right. We should go into business together, Kaori says again. I know about the spiritual world and you know about the natural world. It's the perfect partnership. That's probably why fate brought us together as friends. Friends? Something about the way she says it makes me feel like I found something. I know it sounds corny, but in that moment with that one word, I already feel like a different person. Is that possible? Or could it have just been a coincidence, I say. There are no coincidences, Jen and Kaori say at the same time. For some reason that makes us all laugh, and I don't care that I'm holding Chet's disgusting pillowcase anymore. Once we stop laughing, Kaori's face turns serious. But first, she begins, you have to tell us the truth about something. She and Jen glance at each other. Jen is still holding my bag, so I reach out for it. Is your name really Renee? We thought she would ask that. I stand up as straight as I can, and I put my bag on my shoulder. No, I reply, my name is Valencia Somerset, just like a battle cry. Chapter 35. It just says VS. I'm assuming that's Valencia's initials. The picture kind of looks like maybe the moon, a moon drawing, like maybe the I don't know, the solar system. I don't know, the moon stages. Zodiac. Oh my goodness, Zodiac. Remember, she's always talking about what people's signs are. I bet that's what it is. Kaori was certain she had never heard the name Valencia Somerset in her entire life, but something felt very familiar about it, like having deja vu. Something in her brain clicked and said, this is important, pay attention. But she couldn't figure it out. She pressed her lips together tight and tried to force an answer into her vision, but nothing came out. It just felt so close, like she could reach out and touch the answer if only she knew what it was. Valencia Somerset. Renee had straightened her back when she announced her real name, like she was proud of it. Kaori was fond of her own name as well. It was critical to feel empowered by your name. Kaori believed that with all her heart. We should have been looking for the stone, she said. Virgil's been missing for hours. Let's get back to work. Jen's face lit up. I know! Maybe we didn't need the snakeskin stone now because we have an actual snake bite. She pointed at the pillowcase that Valencia still had pinched between her thumb and index finger. Well, not an actual bite, but snake bite juice. Anyway, that's gotta count for something. She looked at her sister expectantly. Kaori thought. Maybe Jen had a point. Surely saliva from a snake's actual mouth had to count for more than a rock, right? It made logical sense. What do you think? Kaori asked Valencia. Never in all her days, not even in her past lives, had she ever asked another person for guidance or advice. But if they were going to be business partners, now was a good time to start. Kaori knew the importance of collaboration in running a business. Valencia nodded. Makes sense to me. But they were interrupted again when Valencia's phone buzzed. The vibration was so loud that Kaori thought it was her own phone at first. It's my mom, Valencia said when she saw the message on the phone. She announced it like she'd just been getting 6 hours of homework. She wants to know where I am. She rolled her eyes. The pillowcase dangled at her side. Kaori was reminded of pictures she'd seen in history class when people waved white flags to surrender. Do you have to go home? Asked Jen, whiny and weighty with disappointment. Technically, said Valencia. Kaori was about to say that the ceremony wouldn't take long, and maybe Valencia could sneak in an extra 15 minutes before she had to go. But then the bells of the Buddhist monastery sounded, and Kaori had to look at her own phone too. It was her mother. It was like parents were all on the same wavelength or something. It's Mrs. Tanaka, Kaori told her sister. But the text wasn't asking where she was or when she was coming home. Have you seen Virgil Salinas by any chance? Kaori's heart dropped. The fact that her mother was asking meant that someone had asked her, which meant it was one of Virgil's parents or brothers or Lola, which meant that they didn't know where he was either, which meant this was a true blue emergency of epic proportions. Kaori texted back. No, he was supposed to come over at 11, but he never showed up. She started to type more details, that they were looking for him now, that they were going to have a ceremony, and so on and so on. But if she did that, Mrs. Tanaka might tell her to come home with Jen right away. So she deleted the few words she had written and waited for her mother's reply. She asked if I knew where Virgil was, Kaori said, sounding just as sullen as she felt. Something was wrong. Something was very wrong indeed. This means his parents are looking for him. She turned toward Jen. So he didn't get held up at home like we thought. And he hasn't been home since Renee, Valencia, went over there. Jen frowned. The three of them were quiet for a moment until Jen's face suddenly lit up just as it had before. Hey, maybe he went off with VS, she said. Maybe they ran away together like in the movies. That's impossible, said Kaori. Yesterday, he could barely say her initials without choking. VS. Valencia's phone buzzed again. It's not impossible, said Jen as Valencia texted it on her phone. Maybe he sent her a message last night or this morning, and they're off right now eating popcorn at the movies, just him and VS. Oh, heart. You watch too much television, Kaori said. There's no way he ran off with VS. That doesn't make any... She stopped mid-sentence. What's the matter? Jen asked. Now she understood the deja vu. The reason Valencia's name seems so familiar and important. Valencia Somerset. Kaori tapped Valencia on the arm. When she looked up, Kaori asked, what's your sign? Valencia put her phone away and raised an eyebrow. Why? Just tell me, are you a Scorpio? Valencia hesitated. Yes? How did you know? And did you go to the resource room on Thursdays at your school? Valencia tilted her head suspiciously. Yes? Why? Jen jumped up and down 3 times. Oh my God! Kaori, she's VS! She's VS! Yes, Kaori said, all serious business. She's VS. What's going on? Valencia asked, puzzled. I can't understand what you're saying. Kaori moved quickly to stand next to her sister and then clamped a hand over her mouth. We can't tell you. Why not? Just because. That's not an answer, said Valencia. Obviously, it has something to do with me, so I deserve to know. She shifted her eyes to Jen. So what is it? Why do you think she'd ask Jen instead of Kaori? We can't tell you because it would interrupt fate, Kaori said. She still held her hand over Jen's mouth. You know how your little brother and sister tell everything, right? That's why she got her hand over her mouth. Valencia looked like she wanted to laugh. I'm serious, Kaori said. Fate has directly influenced this entire day so far. It's all clear now. Come on, said Valencia. Tell me. It will all make sense once we find Virgil. Kaori could feel Jen's excitement bubbling under her palm, ready to explode. Valencia put her hands on her hips. I won't help you find him unless you tell me. If his life is in danger, you'd put his life in more danger just because I won't tell you something? Valencia's face fell. Her arms dropped to her sides. I guess you're right. She jabbed a finger in Kaori's direction. But you have to promise to tell me once we find him. Kaori let go of Jen so that she could put her hand on her heart. I promise it will make sense when we find him. If we find him, Jen added. When, said Kaori. When.